Okay, this meeting is being recorded.
Okay, Christian, this meeting is being recorded. I'm very happy that you took the time and said yes. We already met once in Berlin when I was still working at Microbeam. So we had a little chat there. So yeah, I'm very happy that you said yes to my little podcast, and I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Ilya. It's a pleasure to meeting you here online and to have an exchange, yeah, on current topics,
Uh,
something
The,
like,
the main topic is you, Christian. This is a topic, the people's behind robotics, and yeah, I'm very interested in your upbringing, maybe your education, and as you are an entrepreneur, maybe about your inspiring journey and struggles and how you overcame them. But yeah, maybe you give us an introduction.
yeah. Of course, yeah. I studied mechanical engineering at Technische Universität Braunschweig and finally ended here in doing my PhD as well at the same university. And this was always in the field of production technology and robotics. And during the projects, we came across always the task of handling something, creating the interface of the object and the robot, which is, from my point of view, the main part of the success for a good robot application. There's viewing things and gripping things. These are the two parts for making a handling solution successful. And I was lucky finally looking back, I was lucky to make this my PhD thesis as well, and we came up with a technical solution which is unique in the market. We call it the FORMHAND technology, and this is also something with friends and colleagues from the other institutes. We made our company, the FORMHAND Automation, and this is how I became an entrepreneur. From the idea of the thesis, with support of the professors and the colleagues, we said one day, with the feedback of industry and some letter of interest, we have to make this a product. And this is where we are now, 10 years later.
Time flies
And
by fast. If you don't mind, I would like to take a few seconds to go back a few steps more, because you said that you studied mechanical engineering, and very often I have students that are about to start university or just started university. Can you give us a little bit more context or background in how you came up with the idea of studying mechanical engineering? Is that something that runs in the family, or is it something that maybe you can say something about this?
yeah, Interesting question, and it's very important to look back in this time of a young life, because I think there's much planted of the later ideas and later uh, energy that is unfolding in terms in things you're doing later. One important thing from my history is both my parents are entrepreneurs as well, but they're architects, and they entrepreneurs in this way that they always have been self-employed, and my brother and me, we have been working alongside with their businesses. So we worked at their construction sites, we had jobs in the office, as a kind of a family business. So we were risen in doing things, in going towards things, desire, creating ideas proactively. So this is something I think is important to mention in my history. Um, but maybe also this is the way that I didn't become an architect as the others, and were looking for something else. Inspired by an uncle of ours, he was a mechanical engineer and always had explanations for how things are working, either inspired by physics or even mechanical things. And this was inspiring me as well. And very classically, I was starting to repair my own cars. As soon as I had my driver license, I had three cars in a row. And with this uncle, we did everything on the car. So this have been old Volkswagen Golfs, Golf 2s, so easy to work on. But as a young guy, I say, well, obviously, this is something I'm interested in. I do mechanical engineering, so very classically. And coming back from my civil service, which I did abroad, I came back home and I felt to run away, and I ran away in the studies, so far away from home. I came to Braunschweig. So this choice actually to come here to Braunschweig was more, yeah, it's the idea not of being at home for this time, and yeah, made me independent in this moment. So it's a good thing to go out of home and to see different things and a lot of new people you're meeting, and many of these people which I got to learn in the first few months at a new place during studies are still working together with me in some kind. This is good. And
And it shows again how important it can be to having some figures in life that can be an inspiration, that can show you how to do things, how to approach things, how things are working, as you said. And yeah, this is an aim of mine to bring people to the podcast who can actually show how they did it and how they had been influenced and inspired. And yeah, so thanks for sharing this bit of history of yours. Entering university, I mean, mechanical engineering. I studied mechanical engineering in Berlin at the Technical University. And I was an older student, so I was already 30. And so, how was it for you? You said the people that you met in the first few months are still people that you are together with. Was that something that came, yeah, naturally to you, or is that something did you found friends easily? Was math and physics, was that something that was easy for you, or did you struggle because of the first few semesters? It's always like a filter. If you can't survive the
yeah,
first or the second semester, you're most likely not going to make it.
yeah. This is totally true. This was also in Braunschweig a hard filter. We started with many people, and after the first three semesters, there has remained the half, I think, more or less the half. I don't know the exact figures, but this was the feeling. And yeah, for me, it was easy. Luckily, I have a passion for math and the physics. This feels good. So this was always a good choice in the end. Listen to your heart and do what you feel. And this was easy to overcome math and physics in the first semesters. Yeah, the hardest thing was the workload, to cope the
Mm.
workload in the first three semesters was like crazy amount of stuff we all had to manage, and this actually brought us together in the end. So we had peer groups in for learning and yeah, organizing stuff together, and this is for me the main part of studying, getting things done. So get organized, find a way through it, and this changed with the second half of the studies when it came to the main courses. Then content was more important for me. So getting into robots, this was specialized all in the second half after for diplom. So when we came to yeah, the main courses, this was all about robotics, kinematics. Yeah, this was the specialization. Others did car engineering and automotive engineering. Others did the aerospace stuff, and I went into robotics. And this is where it became really interesting and also something new for me. So, and there is still my heart, even though at the moment I'm very much disconnected from actually developing something and doing robotics in the end. But as I do work mainly in sales, of course, with the customers, we always talk about applications and ways to do. So also for me, very important this time to have this technical background makes me, I think, a good connecting person for our product to our customers. So even though I have to change my focus, not being a technician anymore, more a salesperson.
I think this is something that every entrepreneur should be, right? A marketer and a salesperson. But it's good that you say that the technical background brings you very close to the customer and their pain points and understanding their point of view, because the transition from academia to being to be an entrepreneur, to sorry, to found a company and to have a product and to market and sell the product and to provide customer support and all those things. Would you say that university is because I had a few guests in the past that came out of academia and became an entrepreneur. Do you think this is something that university, these parts are being neglected a little bit in especially in engineering? Because I remember I had, I think, one course about economics. How was it for you? How do you think there was more learning afterwards and on the way, or have you been prepared somehow?
Yeah, it's a clear yes. I wouldn't say it's not neglected, but it's not actually done. So it's not existing the third mission of actually doing entrepreneur with the knowledge you gain. In our university, it's now changing a lot, but from the history, there haven't been many PhDs actually doing something as we did. They might call it spin-off, taking their ideas, bringing um, into production or into industry. Well, I did a few more economic courses since like second studies alongside. I did some economics, but there haven't been any courses on entrepreneurship, how to do the first business plan, how to actually raise money, to understand different ways of going to market with capital, with bootstrapping, whatsoever. Everything about product development haven't been there. So then you have to understand if you want to do something, who do I need? So it's okay to have an engineer and a product developer, but as entrepreneur, it's always about merging all the different perspectives, and this is not being taught. Nowadays, there are courses. They have built up an entrepreneurship hub in Braunschweig, for example, who's taking care of like these connecting studies. But when we talk to the professor there, you feel how much it's still not in the focus. So he has like two or three courses, maybe a summer school, and of course there are people coming and they're interested in there, but it's not the main focus yet. So yes, it's missing there in in academia studies, and now meeting other entrepreneurs. Usually, I think they're motivated differently, not from the university and not from the academic studies. So there have been some turning point in history or some motivation which lies outside the university.
Are you still, because it seems like you're still very much in contact with the university, is that something that you doing because you still do some kind of projects with it, or is that personal interest, or is that something because you said I was not really being taught and had the opportunities, and now I'm trying to somehow give back? Maybe you can give a little bit more yeah,
Yeah,
context about this.
it's a complex mixture of all this. From first of all, in the first side, it's all about networking. Most important thing in being an entrepreneur, and there, of course, the university takes part, especially since our university, especially mechanical engineering, is yeah very much influenced by our local industry here, which is very much connected to the automotive world. So this is always the place where we have like three players coming together: university, industries, and yeah, the small suppliers at ours. This is like a connecting hub. Of course, we try to give something back in terms, usually in, yeah, we have master thesis at our company. We try to uh, work in projects together, which is sometimes hard because the focus of projects is very much different now from the academic years before. Now it's
Hmm.
about having the product at the customers working and not about all the nice sites project you could do. And this is something you always have to judge if it's a good project that can work together. But working with the students individually, it's always good, because usually students coming to small companies as ours are highly motivated and they're deep into their project. And this is something where you can build a good relationship and brings things forward. This is a good thing working. And yeah, as working, having been working as a PhD at the university, you know about many students coming through your offices, and this gives us the chance to work with them together as some kind of development department. So it's good, but it's not a general raw model for working always, as it's very about the characters, very much about the characters. Yeah. And then at third, with the main contact persons, of course, there is a strong personal relationship. So there's always exchange about what's going on at the alma mater university.
Hmm. The my experience, I see that a lot of especially bigger companies, corporates, they do innovation on the side. So there is R&D happening, obviously, but really in production side, on the line, you see a lot of students, bachelor, master students, PhD students now more than ever. I think 10, 15 years ago was totally different game. I think only very few people really went into that career. I think nowadays it's a cheap version of getting someone highly skilled, but paying him less and making this slow transition of being a full paid employee. What I wanted to point out is that majority of especially very edgy, very new technologies, robotics, AI, all those things are being handed over to them, and so everyone else on the main staff, the permanent staff, is doing the business side, so everything that makes money, and then those kind of projects most likely had been handed by bachelor and master students. The problem that you have here is that they leave after quite a while,
Yeah.
after 2 or 3 years, so the knowledge goes away, and it never has the focus and gets the resources and time and attention and priority. As you're working together with different kind of companies, what is your experience here?
Yeah, it's true. If it's like too many people involved and many people, they're not full-time employees, the knowledge goes away, or it's there and away again. So it's very functional. In our small company, it's luckily not the case yet that we lose a lot of knowledge, since if we work with like external people like the students, it's very intense with the two main founders, Holger and me, in technical parts. So we get a very good transfer of knowledge there. But I imagine if it's getting bigger and it's getting all more quicker, this will happen. We're still in a phase where the commercialization of the product runs well, but the development still keeps on pace. So it's not like they diverted very much. So we have like the focus on product engagement at the customer, and product development is at the same pace. So it's still good connected everything together in our case. But if it happens that you have like a good standard product and still need to develop very much, then you have like also different focus in the company, and then it might be a higher impact of the effect that you're describing. So they have like development department that's doing something and has knowledge, and the other department selling something is not keeping up or something. This could be a thing. Now we like starting to grow bigger projects and more international projects. This is something we were discussing what is going to happen here. So if you have like a standard for the European market and then a standard for the American market, and this becomes more diversity in the product development and different requirements for here and there and different industry sectors, this will gain so much knowledge that has to be transferred and kept somehow in the company. This is definitely a challenge that we're facing in the next years.
Interesting. Now, your point of view, I was more thinking, or from the inner perspective of your company, I was more thinking, as you said, that the majority of your customers are around in the industry around you and automotive. And as you're doing something that has not existing before, you belong to the very edgy new technology part, right? And now automotive gets in contact with you, who are the people you're dealing with? So my question was more going into the direction the customers that you're facing, the projects that you're having from
Who's
outside.
approaching us?
No,
Yeah,
no, and who are you working together with on the other side?
yeah,
Because, like
yeah,
I
yeah.
said, in my experience, I had the feeling that when it comes to these very new technologies, there's a startup or a company coming, and then there's the corporate side, and they only send. I mean, they have a few engineers that are looking at this and verifying and verifying everything, but the majority of time the technology is being tested and used by students or PhD students or master students. So how is your impression here?
Yeah, this is truly happening. You're totally right there. I don't have numbers, but there is a good amount of bachelor and master students approaching us and asking for test setups and bringing something in with their thesis into the company. This is really happening. It's a good way for us because they're open for testing. They are fine with like a quick test setup. In Braunschweig, we have a test center where they might come in or rent or borrow some equipment for testing. This is really happening for very edgy stuff. On the other hand, we have a solution for handling and transporting the parts from A to B, which is a very classic question always in automation. You have a good process, and then you somehow have parts coming from a machine. They have to go somewhere. It's always the same thing. So we addressing a very much a standard process. So on the other hand, we have very classic engineers asking, well, usually we have this grippers, is this gripper also working? And these are also interesting contexts because they're like experienced engineers and they know all our competitors and have very detailed questions on our difference, our main advantages, where we also create communication. This is addressing all these first 10 standard questions. And they're very much different from these high knowledge driven students, as you mentioned. This is always interesting to identify. So these are very different sales processes. And at third, we have big projects where we help designing the process, not only supplying components, but designing the process of different handling and flexible robotics. This is often a mixture. They have like a student running along, looking into using cobots, for example, and then is some process designer saying, okay, this is important for the quality and for the gluing application or something, and then we experience some kinds of mixture. So our future aspects are like discussed with the students, as yes, your idea says, and technical hardcore questions are discussed with the senior engineers, and this is something it's often happening. Yeah.
As you said, you obviously have an engineering background, and then you became an entrepreneur. What was the most, there were a few steps, and you said the company is 10 years old, so there's different stages of the company, right? And you obviously have now product market fit, so you are out of the stage where there's the very high possibility that you're not gonna make it, that you don't find enough customers. Just before we started this chat, we were talking about what kind of situation the company is in. Was it something? I mean, you said you mentioned bootstrapping. We were talking about VC money or being in a family-owned business. Did you have any idea which direction you want to go, or how did you find out which direction you're going, or maybe you can say something about this.
Yeah. Well, this may be good to answer these questions to go a step back again. As an academica, you learn to go towards challenges very structured. This also happened here. We felt the need of, FORMHAND has to go out. We need to make it a product. This is what we felt from our heart and our experience in talking with project partners. And then we have been at this moment, my technical co-founder, we have been looking out what can we do, and as PhDs we didn't have the big money at the moment, and then we came across like the sponsoring program from the federal government, and there you have to apply very hard. It's a very competitive competition every year. Only a few in mechanical engineering are elected to go in there, and then we had to prepare. We had to prepare like a big business plan and a proposal, how we bring FORMHAND into industry, and which kind of impact this might have on the German economics and German industry. And this made us very structured, as we know from our studies, to think about many problems of the business canvas, the product market fit, how to go to market, how to raise money and everything. And we, at this moment, felt it's a good way to talk with all the project partners and collect the letter of interests. And this is still true. We took them, this was like more than 8, I think 10 or something. From the industry sectors, we felt this might be a good product market fit, and we're still working on these focuses. So we planned it. And also in this discussion, we have been 2, and we found out we need someone who's thinking of product development to make all the economics. So we talked to friends and found Kirsten. She is now taking all about the business development, all the finance stuff, and she has been coming from the bank and controlling, and made the product market fit in our company. So made the fit with the both engineers, and this is the strong founder team behind FORMHAND. And together we talked about how we actually want to start it, and we had kind of a vision that we don't want to blow the company as fast and as big as possible, but we wanted to develop it with the customers. So we started very, very soon in talking to later customers, and always try to design products and solutions for and with customers. And this is where we are now. So we took the funding monies, but always generated revenue with the customers. And this is how we ended up. So we not having big VCs, but we're part of a company group now. So we kind of in a mixture. It's a big family company, but we're part of this holding group. And now we're interacting with the group partners, and can create together revenue with customers. But we bring a lot of innovation into the group because they are coming from their classic automotive service. And we bring a technical product in there, which makes their product portfolio younger and more future driven. And this is how we can interact there. And this is a very harmonic and self-inspiring combination of everything. And on the other hand, we can live with their experience, with their market entries to different new sectors. They have like a big role of customers we know trying to engage in FORMHAND thinking and FORMHAND technology. And of course, it's like a kind of money support, of course, from the big group in the background. Yeah. So this is a kind of development we haven't been foreseeing, but I think in our heart we actually were working in this direction to find more or less other entrepreneurs and partners which understand what we are doing and fully support what we are doing. And this is also an advice for the other entrepreneurs out there or people thinking of this from my side. Always talk about your ideas and find people understanding your ideas, and then you also will find supporters. And it's not a good idea in this world to try it by yourself. You always need some advice, some mentors, people actually understanding what you do. And in the end, it's also more fun to share your successes with the people you're doing it together with. So this is one of the main advices for actually keep on going, because this is the next important advice. Keep on going, because no one will actually do your jobs. You have to get things done by yourself. The good thing about it, then you also can design the way of things going. But you have to do it. You have to do it with your partners, and don't expect that someone else is doing it. There are always people having good ideas, but as long as you don't make them your ideas, it won't happen nothing. This is what the main experience from the last years.
think what you said earlier, that you always generated revenue and you got the letter of intent or talk to customers, potential customers. I think this is also very important to trying to get paying customers first, right? Because otherwise you will develop some things that you think and assume that this has any value, and especially from your perspective. But having someone outside who would most likely be the one who is paying for that um, can give you much better ideas on how to develop the product, right? And listening to them. But I think for software, it's even harder because there's such a free culture, or there's a culture of people getting it, because software is everywhere, and programs and everything is being developed so easily. You are in the world of hardware, so things are harder to make reality. As you said, having the idea is one part, but executing is the other part. Um, Interesting that you said that yeah, you naturally went into this direction because it takes time. And you said 10 years now you are in with FORMHAND, and having a family-owned business might have different and longer perspectives versus a VC company who's trying to blow this up as fast as possible to make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, few different very important points that you mentioned here. Uh, you also mentioned a few times now co-founders. So you were mentioning your colleague who is also an engineer, and now you mentioned another colleague. You said she's out of finance. Is that something that you would advise also, trying to get a very diverse founder team? Or do you think if you would like to build something, it might be in the very early stages really about people who can build something? Because finance people or project manager, they're trying to add value, but there is not as much value as really someone who is able to build a product. What is your experience here?
Um, what my first intention was to say, yeah, there's definitely you need as much diversity, many diversity to actually cover all these functions in the moment of building the company. When I think about it, I also like the idea of having like a very focused team on one thing and make something ready and then start the explosion. For our way, this way, our way was the right way, because we with the first day we founded the company, and then we also had to build the company, and this needs the engineer for the product, and then the finance and the development driven the company development driven people to keep everything on track. As I said before, you have to do the things yourself. You have to follow the ideas and the advices, and this is what we did very well in sharing the focus. So there was like sales and customers, there was the product, and there was the company itself. And this is very important. This makes us. We went with sales right into the pandemic, and this was very hard times for us. And I think we only managed this because we had been good positioned with our different diverse team, because we could manage all these things. So we had to take care of our customers on one hand, but with the pandemics at the same moment with our employees, and this made us so inflicted with all this management stuff. Having a small company was like a very big how do you say workload for us to manage and to get everything through. As soon as you have one employer, you have to take care of this person. And this was so good to have Kirsten there to manage all this and still to keep development and production and customers running. So this, I think this never had been working if we only would have been focusing on product development. But on the other side, doing it like our way, this is more the longer way. It's not the explosive, very quick way in developing the one tracking and one big solution that then can go in the market and maybe is interesting for VCs, because it's scaling very fast. It's pretty edgy. It's very on the notch. Our product is broader. It's more with the product, with the development, with the customers. This opens the focus very much in the very beginning, because we have automotive customers, have been food customers, and then this makes the focus wider. But in the end, I think it's a more stable solution if you want to have your own company in the end. So my answer might not be that clear here, because it's 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 a question of the way you're choosing. But definitely, if you have a company very soon and founding the company very soon, it's good to have a diverse founder team to actually cope with all these details of the things you have to manage in a very short time.
It's completing each other and being more than the sum of the individuals. I guess one question that came up to my mind, where you said sales, for example, and you were mentioning operations and finance. We have neglected a little bit the topic of marketing, but the way I saw you guys was on social media. So was that something that came out of accident, or was that something that you did very intentionally very early on? Because I used your videos a few times, because they are most likely always go viral, because it's very well cutted, and it shows the technology on one side, but also the benefits for the user and the customer. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, of course, we neglected marketing, and this is some kind also neglected in our company, but it's very important for True. It's neglected because we always have been doing business with customers, and then you always have to keep yourself on. Yeah, we have to do marketing. We have to do marketing, but it's not because I don't like it. It's more like you need also the capacity and the plan for doing it. It doesn't happen by itself. Marketing, not at all. It's a very important thing. This has to be taken care of. So in the end, it's not being neglected, but it's always cost power to push it forward. Yeah? And to your main question, yeah, if you call the pandemic an accident, yes, it happened to accident that we're using social media, because we have a hardware product, as you said, it's very physical. We need to be in contact with people, either meeting in our test center, visiting them, or go to fairs, and this wasn't happening in our beginning. And for my history, I always was engaged in playing theater, so as a hobby, and I liked creating things and making things visual. And then luckily, we have a very handy, grippable tool that we can film, and where you can create footage from. And this is what we took as advantage. So we took the camera, maybe with my hobby interests, we did a good job in filming and creating some slogans. And yes, it works on social media, but as it's hardware and mechanical engineering, our industry is very classic. It also works very good on fairs and on paper also. We have nice pictures, we have good booklets, and people like our presentation. If we go somewhere and have some slides, it's good to have a product that it's easy to explain. It becomes complicated in application always, but the first two slides, the door opener, and this is what we see in social media, it's very important. And this is the point of marketing. We established a very detailed and technical orientated marketing and sales. It's very much connected, because we're talking usually to machine builders, other engineering companies. They need this opener very much from the pictures and the videos you have been mentioning. But then the next question is usually very, very technical already. So because how is it working in comparison to XY? And this is where the period of marketing itself is quite short, but very important. Yeah. So
would you say that because there's always the duality of having brand awareness and having lead generating content, is that something, especially if you have a very technical product that is very complex on one side, but on the other side very visual, so it is very it can be very easy to lose yourself in only in the brand awareness part. So do you really generate a lot of leads throughout social media?
Um, well, I think yes, but it's not directly from the social media, from a private message or something. We get very a good stream every week via our homepage, and I think that the awareness of our homepage is very much driven from our social media. People, yeah, FORMHAND has a speaking name, and to find it on the web and to end up on the homepage where you can also see the visuals triggers the people to get in contact with us. So yes, social media. I usually use social media in the context of digital marketing. So all of this going out as videos, YouTube, social media ads, also interviews such as these being like in the web. This makes us present in the field of engineering, and people find us mainly through the channel of the homepage. But it's a very important part of social media there. So I cannot really answer if it's the social media activities are mainly lead generating. It's a combination of brand awareness and lead generating because the one leads to the other in the end. And yeah, in the end, if this might be a next question, I think how we make the social media, it's in this case usually about the most thing about how you say authenticity. So we report that what we do at the moment. So we use grippers to actually make fancy processes. This is what we do with our customers in our laboratories, and this is what we show. And this is some kind of what makes us successful with very low effort. We have like good routines to bring it into a short film, into a clip, but mainly with the focus to use it later with another customer in a discussion. And we share this. And so that's always both. It's explaining a product, it's obviously showing a solution, which is lead generation, but it's always looking at some CI and something like this to make the brand awareness. So digital marketing is a very nice way to actually show what you do. And if people are interested in what you do, if you have like a cutting edge solution, it's easy to show it and to make people feel it. Then it's a good media to get it across. And this is what we're using.
I would say, especially in the field of AI and robotics, are very high tech technology, or let's say very new technology or innovative technology, at least in my experience, and you might have here a different view. It's not as easy to get really case studies or videos of the products on site because very often competitors or companies are fearing that now the competitor knows what I do. And so I don't want to. I mean, especially with big corporates, it's a big struggle and can take 2 to 3 years that you are able to use their logo on your website, and you're not entirely being able to show what kind of thing that you're doing, what kind of application you're turning into reality. As we're coming towards the end of our podcast, maybe this is something that where you found a solution to make this happen and can give an advice how other can make it too.
No, totally not. I don't have a solution here. I face the same problem. So
Mm.
the stuff we show, it's either we fight very hard for it to get the on-site images. It's usually a workaround we do. So it's what as we're lucky, we have robots, we have like technical equipment, and we have the test center, a good area to make films and to set up use cases which appear as customer applications, but usually we use stuff that we generate in the solution process before actually it's applied by the customer, or we create use cases by ourselves after market research. But it's very hard in industry to get like reference feed to use them in marketing. Automotive is very restrictive there. Aerospace even harder. As same reason as always, as you say, to not being like in disadvantage to the customers. And yeah, we usually only work in production technology, so our product usually never ends up in the customer products. So this is sometimes not really understandable, but that's the way. So you don't get freed content in the end. But the advice is never stop asking. So there are lucky punches, and these are the very fruitful and very important references we need. Everyone needs, if you have like installed base, you need to talk about it. You have to get it out. And best case, you start visiting with new customers, old customers. This is of course the best thing, but this is
Mm.
also the
Happy
hardest.
customers.
Never
Happy
happens.
customers.
Happy customers, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for walking us through the journey of building FORMHAND and the person who is behind FORMHAND. Um, I read somewhere that most entrepreneurs they when they look back they see it was much harder, took much longer, was much more costly and much more complex than they thought it would be. Would you think that the young Christian from 10 years ago, when he was a PhD student, he would again take this journey? You would advise him to take this journey on, or we're looking for a corporate job where you have a very normal 30 35, 37 hour week, and with summer weekend with weekends off and summer vacation and Christmas vacation, and what's your advice on the young for the younger Christian?
Well, a tough question. Of course, it's true. It always takes longer. It's more work than you imagine, and it's more costly and also costs your nerves. But I love the daily challenge, and it's the best thing is to actually talk to customers who are happy and inspired by a solution. And this is what I would also advise the young Christian. This is so great to get stuff back, start this journey to experience this. Of course, this is something that you can experience in other jobs. The risk and the hard work, you cannot neglect it. I have a young family with 2 kids. This is an international project, so I have 2 companies at the moment. You also know this. But with the support of my wife and the kids and the rest of the family, it's possible. And this is what I would advise the young Christian more, maybe to talk this more through with your people around you, what might happen. But with not knowing it, you cannot talk it through, and this makes you start the journey. So maybe it's good not to advise too much, because we need more people that start the journey. This is important for our economics in Germany to have more entrepreneurs again, and not to go too much in the big companies, and to start things, to change things. This is important.
And as you said, keep going. No
Keep
matter how hard it
going.
is, keep going. Yeah, thanks that you took the time and gave us such insights. And um, I yeah, I remember that when I first saw the video. So I haven't seen the actual product on site live. I think the time we met, you haven't had the hand with you. So I think this is still due. So next time I'm around, I will try to pay you a visit.
Yeah, maybe especially now with your new employer together, there's easy interface. The
Let's
end of
let's take this
I'm
to
feeling
another
that.
into another discussion. I think it's very interesting to as you said, trying to find out new things, see how you can connect, collaborate, and trying to come up with something that has not been there before. So let's see what we can do on the other side of the
Yeah,
podcast.
great talking to you. I have to mention
Thanks.
1 hour is not enough. So we maybe covered only a third of everything to talk about. So I'm looking
Then we might
forward
have a
to continued session with some water down the river, maybe also with new developments. But it was good fun talking to you, and hope yeah, this may raise some interest. And if there are questions, come back to me.
thanks, Christian, and have a nice weekend.
You too.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.